Hey there, hey. So I have this event that I needed to go to, and for this event, we had to dress up in decades. And I wanted to do the 70s. So I found this dress on SHEIN, and I saw the reviews, and it was talking about how the dress really wasn't given what the picture was given. And once I got it, I seen exactly what they meant. It really wasn't giving shimmer. I mean, it's very cute, but I felt like there was something else more that I could do to it. So I decided to go ahead and add my own little twist to it and came up with this. So if you want to see how I did this, stay tuned so that you can see how I made this fabulous dress even more fabulous. Okay, so first thing first, I am a fashionista that is on a budget. So what I did was I went to the Dollar Tree and I bought 4 of these door fringe banners. You know those little shimmer things that you hang on your door at parties so people can walk through. I bought 4 of those from the Dollar Tree. They were $1.25 piece because you know Dollar Tree ain't Dollar Tree and like it used to Dollar Tree. So I got 4 of those from the Dollar Tree to work with. So once I got home and started to work on the dress, I was looking at the material of the dress, just trying to see how I can attach this fringe. And I noticed that the underneath of the dress is kind of made from like this long john material. I don't know why they did that. I would imagine that if they would have used like a polyester or a shiny polyester, it would have been a little bit better. And maybe it would have given the dress a little bit more shimmer with the fringe that it had. But anyways, that's what they did. So while trying to see how I was going to attach this fringe to the dress, I pinned it to the top of the dress right underneath the fringe that was already on there. And I noticed that while pinning it, that it was ripping with the pins. So I knew that I had to attach it to something to make it stable enough to sew. Because I knew that once I started sewing it, it was going to be ripping really bad. So I decided to get a piece of felt and I attached one end of the door banner to it with a clip and I just hot glued it all the way across the felt. Be careful doing this. It was really, really hot. You will burn yourself. But I was able to get that on there so that I could have a way to sew it onto the dress. Now, with hindsight being 2020, I probably should have sandwiched this foil in between 2 pieces of felt, kind of bringing it up a little bit so that the fringe was under the 2 pieces for like with about an inch. But I'll let you know why I felt I should have did that later on in the video. So after gluing all 4 fringe banners onto these pieces of felt, I then went to go ahead and prep the dress. With prepping the dress, all I did was braid up the fringe that was already on the dress so that it wouldn't get in the way. I didn't want it to get stuck underneath the other fringe or anything like that. I wanted to be able to lay flat too. So once I got it all glued onto the felt, I had that big banner. You can kind of see it hanging on the door. I had that big wide band up there and I didn't want that to show underneath the fringe. So I cut it down to this thin strip. But once I got it cut down, I realized that because I had hot glued it to the felt, that the glue was hard and it was really hard to get a needle through it. So I went back to the drawing board and I decided to add another piece of felt behind it so that I could add like a lip so that I could sew it to the dress easier without having to worry about jabbing a needle through the glue and having difficult, and then even also ripping the fringe banner even more. And I'll tell you why that would have been a problem too once we get towards the end. So as you can see, this is just me here. I clipped the fringe, the banner back onto the felt, and I'm just hot gluing it to the felt again to create a lip so that I can sew this onto the dress a little bit easier without having to rip the fringe anymore. Because I want it to be stable. I'm gonna dance my life away at this party. So I wanted to make sure that I kept my shimmer as best as I could. Like I said earlier in the video, with hindsight being 2020, I definitely would have sandwiched this material in between this felt and then cut it out, made the thin little line so that I could sew it onto the dress because the fringe would have been way more secure. The issue that I had throughout the night was that the fringe wasn't secure. And it was getting like stuck to my legs because I was sweating and stuff like that, which caused it to rip out because, it's a foil material. It's not an actual clothing material. But all in all, it definitely did what it was supposed to do. So after I got that glued onto the felt again, I cut it out, but I left a little lip. I was then able to hand sew it to my dress. Now, I'm a beginner sewer, and sometimes the sewing machine intimidates me. So I didn't want to get it under the sewing machine and rip it to pieces. So it was just one panel in the front and then one in the back. So I was able to sew that on easily. Took maybe an hour, not even an hour, I don't know, but it didn't take that long. I threw on some music in my ears and went to sewing, and I was able to get that sewn onto the dress fairly easy once I created that lip. So once I got both panels sewed on, I wanted to see if I needed to use all four of the panels. So I got it hung up on the door and took a look at it, and I really liked the way it looked with just the two panels on it. So I began to cut. I cut a little bit lower than the fringe that was already on the dress because I wanted it to have like a real waterfall look. I didn't want it to look super blunt with both fringe ending at the same point. So I cut a little bit lower than the fringe that was already on there. Once I got the foil fringed all cut to the length that I wanted, I then started unbraiding the fringe that was already on the dress because I really wanted to see how it looked all together. I was hoping it had like a really pretty reflective look with the doll fringe and the foil fringe coming together, marrying, making a very beautiful like shimmer waterfall effect. Because listen here, my goal was to be a 70s solid gold dancer. And you cannot be a 70s solid gold dancer without some shimmer. Like, you got to be shimmering. So I wanted to be shimmering, y'all. So while I'm unbraiding these pieces, there's a couple of things that I wanted to talk about. And I mentioned it earlier in the video a little bit. That some things that I would have done differently, or that I will do differently if I decide to do this again, because I'm probably going to have to do it again to this dress. I would have sandwiched the foil pieces in between two pieces of felt. And I would have moved it up an inch so that the fringe would have been in between two pieces of felt to give it some security. That way, because with me lotioning my legs, with everything, and then sweating and dancing, it was getting stuck to my legs. And let me tell you, I shimmered all over the floor. It's all night. But I looked good. I looked great. But that's definitely one thing that I would do differently in the future. But child, let me tell you, once I got it all unbraided and I got that dress on, listen, look at that. You cannot tell me I was not a solid gold dancer. Once I got my wig on, I got my makeup done, and I put on my platform shoes, honey, I was fly. And you could not tell me different. I danced the night away looking beautiful in my little upgraded SHEIN dress. Would I do it again? Yes, I will, honey.